Hello guys, welcome to a new YouTube video and it's just gonna there's a revolution in South China, Vietnam, as they would quickly take large population centers along the coast as they would establish themselves as the South China, as they would proclaim themselves as true South China, and they would call the nation they declare independence from just Yellow Team, or you couldn't call them Vietnam. But anyways, they would capture Taiwan. Some people just call it People's Republic of China. But they would continue to make large gains against the Yellow Team, or Vietnam, as eventually their forces would make a spearhead, cutting large portions of their armies as they would eventually move in along the coast, fully cutting them off from supplies, as they would eventually conquer them, as they would also make landings inside of this island. And Vietnam would wake up and just start to destroy them, as they would capture all their lost territories, as the soldiers they lost weren't too many, as they were not preparing for this, and that was only a few hundred or thousand. They would recapture the majority of their territory, but eventually, they would capture the majority of their territory, but they would fully take back the mainland. But they would be left on Taiwan. Peace treaty. Okay, here's the peace treaty. They just simply get Taiwan, not nearly as much as they wanted. But yeah, better than nothing. This new nation would begin to expand, just island to island now, as they just not just living a simple life, still have larger ambitions. They would continue to move along the island chains, just establishing new villages, expanding their economy, also having a very large military, mostly of veterans from this conflict that they lost, but did gain a lot of experience. So yeah, very large army, and they're expanding pretty quickly. Eventually, they would make a landing in the northern Philippines, as they would just begin to expand, building large villages, as their population would begin to boom, as they would continue to expand, taking all of this northern island, expanding their influence, as the Yellow Team would begin to get worried, as they are getting threatened by this new power, as they would begin a mobilization to destroy this growing power, to just destroy them and rip them off the map of the earth. Yeah. These guys also don't recognize them. They don't recognize them. But yeah. A lot of tension. Anyways, let's go over here, where these guys would continue to expand along the coast, just building new ports, as their empire would continue to grow, and eventually they would connect up with Round Team territory. Just like that. As they would as they will begin to trade as, like, this is becoming very major as resources from here need to be traded, as they would begin to open up new colonies all across the seas. Just doop, doop, doop. 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 Something tells me they're definitely gonna get in a conflict about these territories with nations like them for these territories that is really far from their mainland. Like, it's really hard to supply, but are really, really making the money with trade, with their dominance over this area, and them being able to whoop and tax foreign trade ships that are trying to get resources from here. Which is, yeah, pretty nice, as they would, like, just, be doing Empire's things. As they would just begin to expand inland, getting more resources from inland Africa, which haven't been seen before. War elephants would begin to be used as they would tame them. Ooh, purple team looking strong, red team looking weak. Oh, well, this is kind of looking like the Eastern Roman Empire. What shall I do next? I don't know. Rebellion. A rebellion would break out as cultural identity over here would begin to change, as they would swiftly take large pieces of territories with the support of the population, as the green team would be like, whoa. Another revolution? We are supposed to be the strongest. As this entire part of the empire would also eventually fall, as Denmark, being more royalist to the empire, would be much slower to conquer, but they will manage to take large portions of Denmark. Some pieces of the islands, as they would also manage to cross over into Swedish territory, managing to take all of that, as that's not too royalist. Yeah. Eventually, another revolution would break out in the British Isles, as they would also have their own cultural identity with, being separated from the mainland, as they would swiftly take large pieces of territory, moving along the coast to cut off their troops, as eventually they would capture the south, and this, and this, and this. But Ireland would remain for now, and this new British nation wouldn't have the strength to take them yet. But these guys would continue to make gains against the green team, being very slowly, but eventually they would make a large breakthrough, making a spearhead and surrounding and capturing a good portion of their army. Peace treaty would be called Peace Treaty Okay, here we are. These guys get simple independence. These guys get independence. These guys are quite unstable. But they are united for now to fight against future conquests. But something tells me if these guys just fall, these unity between these guys will also fall. These guys are royalists. These guys not. All of this is like mainly the same, except for like this, which is like a bit different. It only joined because it's not royalist and may seek to become independent in the future. So yeah, the green team is slightly falling, but I'm sure their gains in southern Italy will be more than enough to keep them satisfied. But they lost this, and this. They lost large masses of territory and population. This isn't so much populated, but this has a lot of population. This also has a decent amount of population, including their Balkan territory. This has a large population. The remaining part of the empire is quite dispersed, but some territories you can clearly see has a much larger population, including this area, which is probably one day going to declare independence, well, obviously. Woo! So yeah, if you like the green team, I'm sorry, but they're on the decline. But for how long? Yeah, they're on the decline. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you like them. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, these guys would begin their expansion to counter the gray and the green team, because these two hate each other. The green team and the orange team hate each other, and they don't get along too well. So yeah, the orange team would massively expand, like crazy, across of a long period of time, but it's crazy how much they expanded. And this would get the green team concerned, and they would begin to expand themselves along the coast, as they would eventually meet the gray team too, getting pretty mad at them because they are taking resources and territory from them, stuff they could have sold. And the brown team and the gray team's getting like a bit concerned about these encroaching empires on their territory. So they might begin to like, yeah. So, yeah. The gray team might not have these territories for much longer. And that is so because they sell this piece of territory to them, to them, to them. And yeah, they sell those territories. And they also sell this to the green team, making quite a good fortune because the green Gold Team were bidding for these territories, and it made them pretty wealthy. But they do keep these territories because these two aren't connected with them yet, so no use to get them yet. So yeah, the Green Team would continue their expansion as they would just take these territories to contend against Gold Team, as these two really don't like each other. And it all started over this. You see, Gold Team used to have these provinces. Green Team took it from them after a short but deadly war. And it's like, yeah. Green Team also claims more territory. This entire thing, historical claims. So yeah, quite interesting. But yeah. Anyways, let's continue to expand. I'm gonna give you a guess what is going to happen. A new civilization is going to pop up. But which civilization will pop up? Japanese civilization? Oh my god. A new civilization would pop up in Japan as they would begin to expand in the mountainous territory. As they would begin to heavily expand on agricultural, as they would begin to take hunter-gatherers and turn them into farmers and citizens of this new country, as they would begin to establish large new villages using these farms, as a population boom would begin to another civilization would pop up in the north, as they would focus on fishing and agricultural production, as mostly more on fishing, as they focus on this area. And yeah. Another civilization. Korea. Whoa. This civilization, quite strange if you ask me. Quite interesting. But they would also begin to have a population boom due to the same reasons as Japan, as the hunter-gatherers would gather up and would begin to be put on the farms, making a bunch of food, population boom, and their civilization go crazy. Yeah. So yeah, these new civilizations would pop up. Isn't that sweet? New civilizations in Asia. Anyways, these guys would begin to expand in response to the collapse, the decline of the Green Team. And yeah, they would make an agreement with these guys on a division of these territories. And yeah, this would be that division. So yeah, gold team gains this. And these guys gain this. Very nice. So yeah, that will happen. They get those territories, and yup, it's looking pretty filled. People from these Peoples from these two civilizations would begin to move north as they would found this nation, moving along the coast using these new resources and technologies from like their old nations to quickly expand, just like this, as they just just make their own empire and just chill. Yeah. Anyways, they would begin to expand south to reconnect with their like mother countries to like begin trade as they discover new resources and want to trade them and become rich. Yeah. Anyways, this like German nation would begin their expansion up north as they, with the support of people from here, would begin to expand them, taking all of these territories. Like, yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot. They would continue their expansion as they would go, whoop, making like this kind of weird spearhead, just whoop, and moving along the coast, whoop, and taking these territories, further expanding this north. It's just becoming quite powerful now. The green team in response would expand into Norway as they would just, yeah. They would literally just take these pieces that the Germans didn't take. So yeah, that happens. And one, uh, one more thing before we go. This team invades this like nugget team as they would quickly take the north, and they would begin to push south towards the capital, moving along the coast, eventually cutting off their forces, and would like even begin to move into this peninsula. And yeah, they would surrender. Peace treaty. Okay, here's the peace treaty. Full annexation, and you guys can just call this the Balkan Empire. Which, yeah. The Balkan Empire. An interesting empire. Yep. But they would begin to prepare for an invasion in full control of the Balkans and maybe Anatolia, or at least their coast in the future. But that will have to wait until next episode, if it ever happens. Spoiler alert, it will. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and that's the end of today's video. Blah 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 blah.